Okay, let's dive into this thing that's got, well, pretty much the whole tech world buzzing. We're talking about the announcement of a brand new company.
Yeah, and the names involved are, seriously big league. Sam Altman from OpenAI
Right.
and Jony Ive, the, the design mind behind, well, so much of Apple's look and feel for years.
Exactly. This feels significant, like more than just another startup announcement.
It absolutely does. And I think what's really interesting here is the the clear intention behind it all. It's not just, two big names getting together. They seem to be creating something totally new to solve a very specific problem they see.
Okay, so for this deep dive, we've been looking at that YouTube video, the one with Sam and Jony actually introducing this thing,
Yeah.
and also some commentary from a CEO in the voice tech space reacting to it all. So think of this as like your shortcut to figuring out what's really going on here.
Exactly. We want to get past the hype, understand the core vision. What are they actually trying to build? Why this team up? And maybe most importantly, what could this actually mean for how we all interact with AI down the line?
So yeah, the big question, why these two? Why right now? It sounds like this wasn't exactly sudden. They've been talking for a couple of years.
Yeah, about 2 years apparently.
Huh?
Even with Altman running OpenAI, which is huge.
Right, and heading up his own design firm, LoveFrom, which sounds like a pretty unique setup itself, this sort of collective of talent.
Mm-hmm. Described as a uniquely talented collective, yeah. And somewhere in those conversations, they both kind of realized there was this gap, a need for like a third company, one focused purely on the hardware side of AI.
Interesting. So not just software, not just the AI models, but the physical things we'll use to interact with them.
Precisely. It's about inventing entirely new ways to interact, not just sticking AI onto existing devices.
And it turns out Sam Altman had already sort of laid some groundwork. He started a company called IO about a year before this.
That's right. Pulled together some real experts, too. Scott Cannon, Evans Hankey, Tang Tan, people with backgrounds covering hardware, software, physics, research.
Even manufacturing, so serious players.
Definitely. The fact that I/O existed beforehand, it suggests this was a deliberate move, not just jumping on a bandwagon. They saw a need for dedicated hardware, a missing piece for AI's evolution. It wasn't just about the intelligence in the cloud.
And now IO is merging with OpenAI, which really doubles down on that commitment, right? Creating devices for AI.
Yeah, it seems like that shared mission is the real glue here, making AI more tangible, more accessible.
Okay, so what's the actual vision for these devices? What are they saying they'll do?
Well, the goal they've stated is to create a whole family of devices.
A family, okay, not just one gadget.
Right. And the idea is these devices will let people use AI to create all sorts of wonderful things. That's the phrasing. There's a real emphasis on creativity, on empowering people.
And the first device they're working on, the buzz is already pretty intense. Jony Ive supposedly said it's the best work our team has ever done.
Yeah, that's a quote that really jumps out. I mean, think about his track record. iPhone, MacBook Pro.
Exactly. To say this new thing surpasses those, that's quite a statement. What could that even mean, design-wise? A total break from screens, maybe?
It certainly makes you wonder, doesn't it? Given Ive's history with simplicity and intuitive integration, maybe it is something beyond visual, more sensory, more ambient. Apple's design language has been dominant for so long. The idea, this is better, it really sparks the imagination about what kind of fundamental shift they're aiming for.
And Sam Altman apparently used a prototype at home, called it the coolest piece of technology that the world will have ever seen.
Wow. Okay, no pressure then.
Huh, right. Sets the bar incredibly high. Makes you wonder about the challenges of actually delivering on that kind of hype.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But their justification, their rationale, seems to be that our current ways of interacting, screens, scrolling, pinching, tapping, they're just old.
Yeah.
They literally called them decades old and legacy products.
Yeah.
Basically saying they're not fit for purpose when you have this kind of magic intelligence in the cloud.
They gave that example, didn't they, about using a laptop for ChatGPT?
Yeah, like if you want to ask a quick follow-up question, you got to stop, open the laptop, find the window, type. It breaks the flow. It's cumbersome.
Well, it feels clunky compared to just thinking or speaking.
Exactly. That friction is what they seem to be targeting. They feel AI deserves something much better, a more natural, seamless way to access it.
Okay, so going back to the partnership itself, how did they actually connect? You mentioned it was kind of personal.
It was, yeah. Apparently, Jony Ive's son, Charlie,
His son?
yeah, was one of the first in the family really digging into ChatGPT, and he basically made the introduction to Sam Altman.
Huh, that's kind of cool.
And from there, they just hit it off. a really strong personal connection formed quickly.
So it wasn't purely about the tech overlap initially.
It seems not. They found they had this deeply shared vision for where technology should go. Maybe not all the nuts and bolts worked out, but the overall direction felt right to both of them.
And crucially, they talked about shared values, like what makes technology good versus not so good.
Exactly. The sources really emphasize that, this shared understanding of the ethics, the potential pitfalls. That seems key to why they think this partnership works, even coming from different places.
Jony Ive made that point, didn't he? About looking beyond just the tech.
He said you have to look at the people, their motivations, their values, that those are maybe even more important indicators of success than just the raw technology itself.
That's a really good point. The who and the why matter just as much as the what.
Totally. Because the tech we build, it reflects the people building it, right?
Yeah.
Those shared values act a compass.
Now, they also talked quite a bit about San Francisco, which was interesting. It's like the city itself is part of the story.
It really felt that way. They described it as this mythical place,
Yeah.
tied to the cutting edge of culture, of technology. They clearly feel it's a special environment for innovation.
Jony Ive even mentioned the geography, the insane hills, as maybe contributing to the creative vibe. That's a fun idea.
It is, isn't it? The physical challenge somehow sparks different thinking.
Yeah.
But there's this deeper sense, too, that SF allows for a certain kind of creative freedom, even the weirdness, as they put it. And that's maybe essential for breaking mold.
Yeah, like you need that space to try truly different things.
Right. And they both express this real gratitude to the city, almost a debt they feel they owe it. That weirdness might be exactly what's needed to get beyond our current ways of interacting with computers.
And a really core part of their mission, they stressed, is making this accessible, democratizing it.
Yes, absolutely. Not just for tech geeks or people who can handle complex systems. They want this to be something anyone with an idea can use to bring it to life with AI.
That's a powerful goal. Jony Ive also shared some thoughts on Sam Altman's role, didn't he? On the responsibility he carried.
He did. He mentioned observing Sam working late, shouldering this immense weight. But what really struck Ive, apparently, was that Sam's primary concern seemed to be for others, for customers, for society, for culture, not just, the bottom line or personal success.
That suggests a certain kind of ethical compass guiding things, potentially.
It does, which feels important when you're talking about technology this powerful.
And speaking of powerful, they're getting feedback on their latest AI model. That sounds pretty incredible.
Yeah, users describing it as genius level across different fields. Scientists apparently reporting they're 2 or 3 times more productive.
Wow, 2 or 3 times.
It's a huge jump. They threw out examples like, potentially finding cures for cancer faster because researchers have access to this sort of incredible external brain.
That really paints a picture, doesn't it, of what might be possible.
It really does. They talk about being on the verge of an embarrassment of riches in terms of what society can create, and this new tech helping us become our better selves.
And this resonates with others, too, that voice tech CEO we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, completely enthusiastic. Called the announcement itself groundbreaking.
Saw it aligning with their own goals, right? Making the internet more human, more accessible, through better interfaces.
Exactly. The idea that conversation voice is just the most natural interface for us, and that this Altman-Ive collaboration could really redefine how we interact online, moving us beyond screens and awkward clicks and taps.
Making digital experiences maybe more beautiful, definitely more intuitive. They're expecting a massive leap forward.
That seems to be the hope, yeah.
Okay, so wrapping things up here. This new company, Altman and Ive, it's clearly a huge swing, a real attempt to reimagine how we engage with tech, specifically AI, moving past the screens we know towards something maybe more intuitive, powered by AI.
Absolutely. And the core drivers seem to be this shared vision, strong values, and this push to democratize AI power. Make it useful for everyone, not just a few.
And for you listening, this really isn't just about, what new gadget might be coming. It's about potentially unlocking totally new ways to be creative, to be productive, to solve problems, both personally and, maybe as a society.
Right. Think about those little frustrations you have right now using AI on your phone or laptop. That clumsiness. Did a truly natural interface change everything about how you learn or create or even just connect with information?
Which leads to that final thought. If they pull this off, if AI gets seamlessly woven into our lives through new kinds of hardware, how does that change what computing even means?
Yeah, what happens then? What unexpected doors open up? or what new challenges arise, and maybe the most exciting part, what ideas could you bring into the world with a tool like that? Makes you wonder, doesn't it?